private. What in the goddamn hell do you think you're doing?
Laughter.
Never underestimate the quiet ones. Sometimes the most faded uniforms hide the brightest scars. This story will prove it. The sun was merciless that day. It baked the parade courtyard until the air itself shimmered. Rows of soldiers stood in formation, boots planted firmly on the gravel, shadows sharp under the noon light. The colonel marched along the line like a hawk sizing up its prey. His metals glinted, but his scowl was sharper than steel. When he stopped, silence fell heavy. Then his finger shot forward like a spear, straight at me. "You there? Step out of line." The weight of 100 eyes burned my back as I stepped forward. The crunch of gravel under my boots felt louder than thunder. The colonel paced around me, lips curling. "This is what they send me? Look at her. Barely holding formation, a disgrace in uniform." The recruits behind me snickered. One elbowed another. "Bet she cries before the week's out," one whispered. Heat flushed my face. My fists clenched at my sides. My chest rose and fell, but I kept my mouth shut. I knew what they wanted, a crack, a flinch. The colonel leaned in, his voice dripping with contempt. "Tell me, Sergeant, what makes you think you belong here? You look like a mistake waiting to happen." A ripple of laughter broke through the silence. The colonel smirked, convinced he'd buried me in shame. "Before we go further, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing people from all over the world here." But inside me, something was shifting. His words weren't breaking me. They were igniting something deeper.
You expect us to follow orders from someone who treats us like dirt! We deserve respect!
The courtyard went silent again, waiting for me to fold under the colonel's glare. My pulse hammered like a war drum, but I took one step closer instead of shrinking back. My voice came low at first, steady but sharp enough to cut. "What makes me belong?" The colonel arched an eyebrow. The smirk on his lips dared me to continue. I took another breath, and this time my voice rose, filling the courtyard. "Everything I've endured that you will never understand." A stunned murmur passed through the recruits. The laughter that had once rolled so easily was gone. I lifted my chin higher. I've worn this patch in deserts where the heat cooked through armor. I've stitched wounds with hands shaking from exhaustion. I've carried brothers on my back when they couldn't walk because someone had to. I've stood watch at 3 a.m. in freezing rain, praying the dawn would come, because lives depended on it. Every sentence cracked through the air like gunfire. The colonel's smirk faltered. "This patch," I tapped my shoulder, "is not just cloth. It's blood. It's sweat. It's nights I can never take back. You think I don't belong? I've already belonged more than half the men who laughed at me today." Silence. The recruits who mocked me now stared with jaws locked and eyes wide. The air was heavy, charged. Even the colonel's hand, clutching his cap, shook slightly. If you're still here, you're feeling this moment, so don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one. I didn't shout to win. I shouted because my truth had been silenced long enough. And for the first time, I saw something in the colonel's face I never expected: hesitation. The courtyard stood frozen. The colonel's face, usually carved in stone, cracked under the weight of silence. His lips parted, then closed again. He glanced at the recruits, whose eyes had shifted from him to me. The authority he carried was slipping, and he knew it. Finally, he cleared his throat, straightening his uniform. His voice, stripped of thunder, came softer. "This outranks yours." He pointed to the patch on my arm, not to mock, but to acknowledge. Then he stepped back. The recruits, once smirking, now held their shoulders rigid, not in defiance, but in respect. Later, at sunset, the courtyard glowed orange. The air felt different, no longer heavy with judgment, but alive with quiet awe. That evening, a knock rattled my door. I opened it to find the loudest of the doubters standing there. His eyes were lowered, his posture awkward. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, in a low voice, only 2 words. "Sergeant, respect." I closed the door slowly, a smile tugging at the corner of my lips. Because respect isn't given, it isn't ordered, it's earned. Never judge by appearances. If this lesson resonated, subscribe now and join our community of storytellers. And tell me in the comments, what part of this story hit you hardest?